Wealth and money is finite, but the abundance of agriculture stretches across 4 vibrant seasons on every continent, sustaining the world with more than 10 billion tons of agricultural produce each year. So how do farmers harness technology, data, and artificial intelligence to overcome harsh weather conditions, turning every harvest into a resilient, continuously operating system? In this video, join us as we step into the world's most abundant harvests, where the technological era erases seasonal boundaries and transforms crops into an endless array of flavors for year-end celebrations. Behind the massive volumes of corn destined for industrial processing, the vast fields of central Illinois also produce 60,000 tons of silage corn each year, directly boosting herd productivity and shaping the richness and consistency of every glass of milk. The golden window for harvesting silage corn arrives in late summer to early fall, when the entire plant reaches optimal maturity. Having stored sufficient energy while retaining around 30% moisture, the ideal level for dense packing and stable fermentation. Once this biological threshold is reached, the entire field immediately shifts into the continuous rhythm of massive harvesting machines. Corn stalks are cleanly cut, the entire biomass is finely chopped and blown directly into trucks moving in parallel, keeping the material flow seamless and protected from air exposure. Thanks to this uninterrupted chop-and-blow process, each machine can handle 600 to 650 tons per hour, allowing the entire harvest to be completed in just a few days before colder weather sets in. From the field, the chopped corn is transported straight to the silage site at peak freshness. Here, the silage mass is spread in thin layers and continuously compacted by heavy machinery weighing dozens of tons. This pressure forces oxygen out, creating an anaerobic environment in which the sugars within the biomass are converted into lactic acid, the foundation that keeps the silage stable throughout the winter months. After about 3 to 4 weeks, fermentation is complete. Chlorophyll breaks down, dry matter increases, and the vibrant green gradually shifts to a beige yellow hue. The silage is then tightly sealed, ready to be opened during the cold season, characterized by a mild acidic aroma, soft fibrous structure, and the absence of mold. Few realize that milk from cows fed on corn silage is typically richer in fat, rounder in flavor, and noticeably less acidic than milk produced from dry hay-based diets. This is due to easily digestible starches that release energy steadily in the rumen throughout fermentation. In other words, milk quality is largely determined at harvest, long before the cow ever enters the milking parlor. Despite being widely blamed as a leading cause of weight gain, in Idaho, the potato capital of the United States, more than 6 million tons of potatoes each year still enter the massive machinery of harvest. Peak harvest season begins in late September, when the cold nights of early fall force starch to retreat fully into the tubers. At this stage, dry matter and solid content reach their ideal levels, just before the soil begins to freeze. Once the foliage has died back, harvesting machines roll into the fields. Rather than overturning the soil, the digger system lifts an entire layer of earth, about 8 to 10 centimeters thick, raising the full potato row onto a conveyor, while the tubers remain coated in moist soil. Multi-level vibrating belts then use gravity to separate soil, roots, and stones, while harvesting speed is constantly adjusted to minimize impact on the skins. Potatoes are not dumped in bulk. Instead, they are gently cushioned and evenly distributed within the holding bin, then transferred laterally into trucks moving alongside, allowing the entire operation to run without stopping. From the moment they leave the ground, most of these potatoes are already destined for fries, chips, and frozen potato plants. However, only 40 to 50% of the harvest meets the strict standards for size, shape, and dry matter required for premium fry production. Harvest, therefore, is not merely the end of a growing season. It is the starting point of a familiar cycle, one in which potatoes become the king of starch, a food Americans both wary of and unable to resist. Just before snowfall arrives, clementine orchards across Spain burst into color. As the thin skins on the trees turn a deep orange, taut, evenly ripened, and faintly scented with their signature citrus oils, farmers step into the groves wearing large harvesting bags capable of holding dozens of kilograms of fruit. This allows them to move continuously between rows without frequent returns to collection points. Fruits growing on the lower branches are picked with a gentle twist at the stem, right at the natural separation point, preventing skin tears and minimizing sap release that could dull the surface. For higher clusters, lightweight aluminum ladders about 2 to 3 meters tall are placed close to the trunks, extending reach while protecting young, fragile branches, crucial for maintaining yields in the following season. Despite annual production approaching 2 million tons, the majority of Spanish clementines are still harvested entirely by hand. This method preserves the fruit's shape, skin tension, and balanced sweetness, key standards demanded by discerning markets such as the UK, Germany, and Northern Europe throughout the winter citrus season. Every Christmas season, more than 2 million tons of chestnuts are consumed worldwide, appearing at street-side roasting stalls, in home kitchens, and on winter dining tables. But have you ever wondered how these chestnuts are harvested before releasing their signature aroma in the roaster? Starting in September, when growth pressure accumulated throughout the summer reaches its peak, chestnut burrs naturally split open and drop straight to the ground, an unmistakable signal that the harvest season has begun. In small family-run orchards, where chestnut trees are favored for their long lifespan, cold tolerance, and low maintenance, harvesting still relies almost entirely on manual labor. Harvesters use specialized tongues to pick up each nut from beneath the trees, avoiding injury from the sharp, spiny husks. Though slow and physically demanding, this method allows for immediate selection in the orchard. Only round, glossy, uncracked, mold-free chestnuts are kept, key criteria ensuring the nuts are sweet enough, dry enough, and ready to move directly into the market. However, in large-scale growing regions such as Tuscany, more than 50,000 tons of chestnuts must be collected within just 72 hours each season. A massive volume that quickly exceeds human limits and turns the entire harvest into a race against time to prevent moisture absorption, fermentation, and internal mold. As a result, mechanized systems become the operational core of the orchard. At the heart of these machines is a ground-hugging elastic sweeper driven by a precisely calibrated hydraulic rotating shaft, soft enough to glide over leaf litter, spiny husks, and shallow roots, yet strong enough to flick heavy round chestnuts into the collection flow. Immediately behind it, a high-powered suction system creates a strong pressure differential, pulling the nuts into the machine while soil, stones, and heavier debris are rejected directly at the intake. Thanks to this integrated sweep vacuum screen design, each machine can process up to 4 tons of chestnuts per hour, the equivalent of dozens of manual workers, but more importantly, fast enough to capture the narrow golden window of the harvest. From here, mechanized harvesting has become the new standard in modern facilities, where chestnuts are sorted, heat-treated, or frozen, then transformed into a wide range of products for the busiest season of the year. Known as the purple gold of southern France, The perfectly aligned lavender fields enter the decisive moment of their entire growing cycle as early as the start of summer. From the first weeks of the season, specialized harvesting machines begin rolling along the rows, cutting close to the stems at precisely calculated heights. The blades oscillate at high frequency, fast enough to slice cleanly through each flower cluster, yet accurate enough to preserve the tiny oil sacs within. Even a slight deviation can cause an entire batch to lose its value. Immediately after cutting, the lavender tops are vacuumed directly into rear-mounted containers, barely touching the ground. Within minutes, a ribbon of purple stretching hundreds of meters disappears, leaving behind bare stems, ready to regenerate for the next season. As soon as the harvest leaves the field, the lavender is transported straight to distillation facilities within hours. As any delay under the summer sun leads to immediate losses. Thanks to high concentrations of linalool and linalool acetate, lavender essential oil delivers a warm, soothing, deeply relaxing effect. Stored from summer to become the base note for scented candles, room diffusers, and calming therapies throughout the colder months. Just by looking at Akatsuki, Japan's national peach variety, it's easy to see the country's uncompromising standards in agriculture. By July, when the fruit reaches perfect ripeness, each peach appears smooth, evenly blushed, and plump, the result of nearly a full year of meticulous care. Weeks in advance, every fruit is wrapped in a paper bag to control insects, weather exposure, and sunlight, ensuring uniform skin coloration. When harvest season arrives, peaches are picked entirely by hand. The stem is held, the fruit is gently rotated once, then cleanly detached and placed individually into trays, never stacked, with zero margin for error. This strict attention to detail pushes Akatsuki peaches to prices of up to $50 per fruit, comparable to a serving of A5 Wagyu in Tokyo. Rather than chasing volume, Japan has chosen a different path, breeding hundreds of peach varieties for the premium market, built around standards that far exceed the global average. As autumn arrives in Washington state, pear orchards reach a stage of firm, mature green, an indication that starches have fully converted into sugars and accumulated within the flesh, while softening enzymes remain largely inactive. This delicate balance forms the critical foundation for the fruit's ability to ripen properly after harvest. To preserve this fragile state, growers harvest pears at the technical maturity stage. Each fruit is cradled in the palm, lifted along the stem axis, then twisted decisively to detach from the branch, minimizing pulling force and surface impact. This technique is especially crucial for thin-skinned European pear varieties such as Bartlett, Anjou, and Bosc, which are highly sensitive to mechanical damage. Immediately after leaving the orchard, the pears are rapidly cooled and sorted in packing facilities before the ripening process can self-activate. It is this short, continuous, closed-loop operation that allows Washington to maintain its position as the nation's leading pear supplier, producing up to 300,000 tons annually, with a significant portion flowing directly into the canned pear industry, ensuring Washington pears remain available on supermarket shelves around the world year-round. In large-scale grape-growing regions, harvesting machines such as New Holland's Broad are purpose-built for trellised berry crops. By simply swapping the shaker units and collection trays, the same machine platform can be adapted to multiple grape varieties. Its high-clearance chassis and well-balanced center of gravity allow stable operation between vine rows, even on sloped terrain. Rather than cutting or picking, the machine uses a vibration mechanism operating at 400 to 500 shakes per minute to detach ripe grapes, while elastic rollers and controlled airflow remove leaves, stems, and debris, before the fruit enters the bins, minimizing bruising. Each machine can harvest over 20 tons of grapes per hour, equivalent to dozens of manual workers, forming the backbone of industrial wine and juice production, where speed and uniformity take priority. However, for premium grape varieties destined for high-end winemaking and the fresh export market, harvesting is still carried out entirely by hand. In California, when grape clusters turn deep purple and develop their natural white bloom, hundreds of workers spread across the vineyards, each holding small, razor-sharp shears to cut clusters one by one. Once removed from the vine, every bunch is inspected for skin integrity and potential damage before being gently placed into shallow, crush-resistant trays. Thanks to this meticulous approach, California continues to produce over 6 million tons of fresh grapes each year, forming the backbone of both its premium wine industry and its global fresh grape exports. People often joke that if you could bring only one plant to a barren land, everyone would choose the banana. Not only because it's incredibly resilient, but also because its productivity is so high that it could sustain humans for weeks. Harvesting bananas may look simple, but it's actually one of the most challenging crops to harvest in the world. A single bunch can weigh 50 to 70 kilograms, heavy enough to knock a worker off their feet if they don't use the right technique. For export bananas, each bunch is wrapped in plastic from the very beginning to protect it from insects and maintain a stable temperature. When the fruit reaches the right age, workers measure the size, curvature, and weight of each hand of bananas, then cut the bunch using specialized tools. Once cut, the unripe green bananas are hung on a pulley system to prevent bruising. From there, they travel along narrow rail lines, pulled by pack horses through the plantation, or transported via cable systems over slopes to the packing station. Have you ever wondered why bananas are always harvested while still green? It's because at that stage, the fruit is firm enough to withstand long-distance transport of thousands of kilometers, ripening slowly under controlled conditions so the flavor remains perfect when it reaches the consumer. Leaving behind the swaying banana bunches under the low canopy, let's look up to the sky, where coconuts hang high atop towering trees, beginning a new journey, the challenging process of coconut harvesting. Despite their tropical chill image, coconuts injure around 150 people each year when they fall on heads. That height and risk make harvesting coconuts one of the most difficult and dangerous tasks in agriculture. To mitigate the danger of coconuts falling from dozens of meters, farmers came up with a solution that's both simple and ingenious: digging shallow water channels between the rows of coconut trees. Thanks to this water layer, each bunch, once cut, doesn't fall freely onto hard ground, but instead lands softly on the water, where the impact is almost entirely absorbed. A single 50-meter-long channel can safely catch around 2,000 coconuts a day, drastically reducing cracks and breaks, a problem that once cost farmers up to 30% of the crop's market value each season. After harvesting, the coconuts are tied together in long chains and floated along the water like natural buoys. This allows farmers to pull hundreds of coconuts at once along the channel with almost no effort. From above, the entire transport system looks like a riverine logistics chain: smart, gentle, and extremely efficient. Dubbed the sun fruit of the Mediterranean, the lemon has become a staple in the era of clean eating and healthy living. In Spain, over 40% of lemons are still harvested by hand, where skilled hands carefully shape billion-dollar harvests. Amid the dense lemon foliage, workers must gently weave their hands through the leaves to find fruits at just the right ripeness. Instead of tugging or pulling branches, they use specialized scissors to cut the stem at a 45 degrees angle, leaving a 3 to 5 millimeter stem stub, a technique that protects the delicate peel from scratches, a key factor in quality and shelf life. During harvesting, a slight squeeze of the fruit can release thousands of tiny oil sacs on the peel, creating a fine mist that can make the picker's eyes water. Lemons are almost always hand-picked because machinery struggles to separate the fruit without bruising the skin or breaking branches. Moreover, each tree ripens unevenly, requiring pickers to select fruits one by one. Thanks to their skillful hands and years of experience, these workers ensure that each lemon harvest meets the highest standards for both export and processing. With more than 500,000 tons of cherries exported each year, Chile is known as the world's cherry powerhouse, accounting for over 40% of the global fresh cherry supply. When cherry season peaks, the orchards seem to move in a mesmerizing mechanical rhythm. The steel arms of the harvesting machines press gently against the trunk, lock into place for a split second, then shake in a controlled motion for just a few seconds, strong enough to release the ripe fruit, yet gentle enough to avoid damaging the branches. Thousands of deep red cherries cascade onto the catching frame like a rain of sweetness. Each machine setup can harvest 2 to 3 tons of cherries per hour, boosting productivity by 20 to 30 times compared to hand picking, while minimizing bruising thanks to the soft padding on the catch trays. One critical technique is always emphasized. The vibration must stay within the 30 to 45 Hz range, because even a slight deviation can cause unripe cherries to fall as well. Behind the machines, crates fill up rapidly, capturing the full value of a billion-dollar harvest from the most renowned cherry-growing region in the world. As the plant that makes the whole world cry, more than 100 million tons of onions are harvested each year with modern technology. Across vast fields of golden onions at peak season, the harvesting machine roars to life, pulling entire rows from the ground in one decisive motion. Few people realize that behind such power lies a strict limitation. Despite weighing several tons, an onion harvester must never exceed 3 kilometers per hour. Even slightly surpassing that speed can create tiny shocks strong enough to bruise thousands of bulbs, causing entire storage batches to spoil later in a domino effect that's nearly impossible to control. Right after being lifted from the soil, a lift screen air system takes over with near-perfect precision, removing dirt and roots in just 0.2-0.4 seconds before conveyor belts carry the bulbs into the storage hopper. Thanks to this constant rhythm, each machine setup can collect 4 to 6 tons of onions per hour, replacing the labor of dozens of workers and turning the entire field into a true open-air industrial assembly line. And from that overflowing hopper, waves of spotless onions are unloaded onto transport trucks, beginning their next journey to the processing plant, where they are cleaned, sorted, and moved into an even more sophisticated technological system. With a harvest season lasting only 40 to 45 days, lychees have become a symbol of fragility and uniqueness, as more than 3 million tons are picked during the most vibrant race of the summer. In June, bright red lychee orchards enter a brief 40 to 45-day harvest window. Lychees must be picked at night or early in the morning, when the fruit is still asleep. Its respiration slows, and its internal temperature stays around 25 to 27 degrees Celsius. Conditions that help preserve the red color and crisp texture before they are chilled. During the day, lychees release heat intensely. Just a few hours under the sun can darken the peel and diminish their quality. On lower branches, the fruit is clipped quickly and gathered in clusters, while on the higher canopies, workers must climb to the treetops or use long poles to lower each bunch without scratching the delicate skin. In November, as Florida's mandarin orchards ignite in a brilliant shade of orange, citrus harvesters roar to life, marking the start of one of the most powerful and precise mechanized processes in the U.S. citrus industry. Unlike fresh mandarins, which must be hand-picked, most industrial mandarins used for juice and essential oils are harvested entirely by machine. Nearly 3-meter-tall citrus harvesters drive between the tree rows, using hydraulic shakers to vigorously rattle the canopy and release the ripe fruit. The mandarins fall onto conveyor belts below and are carried straight into the holding tank, never touching the ground, not even for a second. Thanks to mechanization, each machine can collect 20 to 40 tons of mandarins per hour, clearing an entire orchard in just one morning. Despite its efficiency, the shaking system can bruise 10 to 20% of the fruit, knock down immature mandarins, and strain the branches, turning every harvest into a calculated trade-off. If industrial mandarins can rely entirely on machines, persimmons must be harvested completely by hand, and that very delicacy has transformed persimmons from a once ignored astringent fruit into a treasured winter delicacy, with nearly 5 million tons produced each year. In October, as the orchards turn a glowing shade of orange-red, the brief 4 to 6 week harvest season officially begins. Persimmons grow quickly and weigh heavily on the twisted old branches, forcing farmers to prop them up with bamboo poles and support ropes to prevent breakage in the early cold winds. Depending on the variety, the harvesting method changes. Thick-skinned, low-growing persimmons can be shaken down onto padded mats. Soft, thin-skinned ripe persimmons must be picked 100% by hand, and those growing on 6-7 meter tall ancient trees require ladders or tree climbing, using pole-mounted clippers to cut each fruit. After harvesting, persimmons are sorted immediately. Soft, sweet ones are eaten fresh the same day, while astringent varieties are sent straight to processing facilities to be transformed into dried persimmons and other refined specialty products. In October, California's avocado orchards begin to darken into deep green. The unmistakable signal that the richest, most dynamic harvest season of the year has arrived. Unlike many fruits that can be collected by shaking the tree, avocados must never be allowed to fall. A single impact with the ground is enough to bruise the flesh and dramatically reduce quality. Avocados are even more temperamental in one peculiar way. They do not ripen on the tree, meaning farmers must pick them at the exact maturity on the exact day and at the exact size. For that reason, nearly 100% of the harvesting process has to be done by hand. Workers wearing thick gloves use specialized clippers to cut each stem, leaving a 3 to 5 millimeter stalk to prevent latex from staining the skin. On trees taller than 6 meters, they use pole harvesters with built-in cutters and collection bags, carefully lowering every fruit without letting it roll or take a single hit. A skilled picker can harvest 800 to 1,200 avocados a day, yet productivity is still far below mechanical fruit shaking systems, one of the reasons avocados consistently remain high in price. Right after picking, the fruits are placed in padded baskets or cushioned trays, never stacked more than 2 to 3 layers to avoid compression. Within 4 hours, the crates are delivered to the packing house for pre-cooling, maturity checks, and sorting by size and oil content. Only the fruits that meet all standards continue forward, some for export, others sent to ripening facilities or processing lines for guacamole and avocado oil. A little-known fun fact, 85% of the world's Hass avocados don't ripen on the tree at all. They ripen in cold storage. And that is precisely why harvesting becomes a race of timing, precision, and delicacy that no machine can replace. In Washington, where the apple season runs from August to November, the most critical part of the harvest isn't the picking itself. It's moving 400-kilogram bins out of the orchard as quickly and cleanly as possible. That's why the Krolik bin handling system has become the new standard in high-density orchards. The system's logic is simple but remarkably effective. It uses two independent rail levels running along each tree row. When a full bin reaches the transfer point, the upper level moves it out of the row through a designated exit. At the same time, the lower level pushes an empty bin into the exact spot that just opened. The whole exchange takes only seconds. No forklifts, no waiting, no picker forced to pause mid-task. This configuration solves a major bottleneck in modern apple production. Tight row spacing, often just 3 meters, combined with large, continuous acreage stretching for hundreds of hectares. Minimizing machine movement and bin handling also reduces impact on the fruit, helping maintain the crispness and firmness that are easily lost when bins are jolted around. Overall, the system doesn't just speed up transport, it improves fruit quality, a small mechanical insight, but one that reshapes the entire rhythm of the harvest. After leaving the tree rows, the full bins are loaded onto specialized trucks and taken to a collection and pre-processing facility, located about 3 to 5 kilometers from the orchard. This short distance is intentional. It minimizes the time apples spend outside controlled conditions, reducing bruising and preserving firmness before they enter the sorting line. At the facility, each bin is quickly cooled, washed, and quality checked before moving on to cold storage or the packing plant. Keeping this initial transport segment short is a key factor in preserving the fruit's overall quality. In Queensland, home to some of the largest continuous sugarcane fields in the world, cane trains run day and night from June until the end of the year. This rail network stretches more than 4,000 kilometers, linking hundreds of farms to more than a dozen coastal sugar mills. What's interesting is that despite the length of these trains, the locomotives are small and lightweight, specially designed to run on tracks less than 2 feet wide. Each train can haul up to 800 tons of sugarcane, moving steadily through the fields to collect the entire harvest of the region. This system saves fuel, reduces road congestion, and forms the backbone of Australia's sugar industry, one of the few places in the world where agricultural railways still operate at such scale. For the people of Queensland, the sound of a cane train's whistle signals not just a busy harvest season, but the rhythm of an entire economy in motion. In greenhouse farms growing tomatoes, strawberries, or cucumbers, the job of moving produce from the crop rows to the processing area is handled by specialized electric tow tractors. They're small, agile, and able to operate in aisles less than 1 meter wide, spaces where any larger vehicle would be useless. Many farms still use electric tow tractors with drivers, pulling long trains of full harvest crates. But in more advanced greenhouses, you'll see autonomous units that follow magnetic sensors or camera guidance, transporting produce to the packing area automatically. What surprises most people is that an autonomous tractor like this costs between $8,000 and $20,000 USD, depending on the level of automation. It's expensive, but it cuts nearly 70% of manual lifting and carrying, and it shortens transport time, a critical factor in keeping delicate crops like strawberries or tomatoes fresh, firm, and full of flavor. In Ecuador, where more than 30% of the world's exported bananas originate, plantations handle massive daily volumes across challenging terrain. To keep produce moving smoothly between plots that can be a kilometer apart, growers rely on a system few people expect: Aerial cableways designed specifically for bananas. These lines are built on steel towers about 3 to 4 meters tall, running straight through the fields without needing any road underneath. Banana bunches are hooked onto trolleys fitted with low-friction bearings, allowing them to glide along the cable with remarkable stability. This setup minimizes vibration, a critical factor in maintaining peel quality before the fruit enters the grading line. On sections with natural elevation drop, the system uses gravity to move the load. On flatter stretches, low-power electric motors provide gentle assistance to keep the pace steady with almost no energy cost. As a result, a single cable line can transport bananas continuously for hours without interruption. A simple piece of engineering, yet one that sustains the entire flow of production across vast tropical plantations. Seen from a distance, cotton fields in the US look as if someone scattered giant marshmallows across the landscape. In reality, they're the work of next-generation harvesters, machines that pick, clean, and compress the cotton into cylindrical modules more than 2 meters long, wrapped tightly in UV-resistant film. They may look fluffy, but each marshmallow weighs up to 2 tons. Once the machine drops a module onto the ground, the transport race begins. Tractors equipped with curved lifting arms scoop up each cotton roll and raise it effortlessly. The arms match the module's rounded shape, so even when driving over soft soil, the module keeps its perfect compression. Crucial, because even a small deformation can cause problems later on the ginning line. The modules are loaded onto specialized trailers, where the operator lines them up in long rows. A single run can carry 8 to 10 of these massive rolls. Their destination is a staging yard a few kilometers from the field. There, hundreds of modules sit in perfectly straight rows, waiting to enter the gin. The bright yellow wrap protects them from rain, dust, and harsh sun, while keeping the fibers inside clean and intact. When harvest season arrives, the rice paddies come alive with activity. Freshly cut rice is loaded onto trucks or small barges and transported straight to the milling facilities, where the husk is removed, the grains are cleaned, and the final white rice is produced. From there, the rice is bagged, inspected, and moved to the port for the next and biggest stage of its journey. It's at the port that the true scale of the rice export industry is revealed. Massive cargo ships, bulk carriers, can hold up to 60,000 tons of rice, nearly 3 million bags, enough to feed a large city for months. When the ship docks, towering cranes lift bundles weighing several tons and lower them into cavernous cargo holds as wide as indoor arenas. On the ground, teams of workers operate non-stop, arranging, securing, and monitoring moisture levels to ensure every bag stays safe throughout the long voyage across the ocean. From the paddies to the open sea, this entire journey shows one thing clearly. Rice is not just food, it's an economic ambassador, carefully handled at every step before it leaves Asia for the world. No longer confined to the ground, modern agriculture has truly taken to the skies. For fresh flowers, especially roses, tulips, and other varieties with a shelf life measured in days, air freight is the only profitable way to move them across continents. Each year, more than 1 billion stems are flown into the United States, with demand peaking around Valentine's Day, when roses from the Andes and tulips from Kenya, Ethiopia, or the Netherlands all head for the same destination. Right after harvest, the flowers are pre-chilled, sorted, and packed into ventilated cardboard boxes that preserve moisture while allowing the blooms to breathe naturally during transit. At the airport, the ground crew races against the clock. They wrap each pallet in specialized polyester netting, strong enough to secure around 300 flower boxes per load. then push them into the cavernous cargo holds of freighter aircraft. Throughout the journey, tens of tons of flowers are kept cold by a tightly controlled climate system and temperature sensors. Thanks to this stability, even though air freight costs 5 to 6 times more than sea freight, the loss rate from wilting, bruising, or stem rot is dramatically lower. Because of these high-speed flights, within just 48 hours of leaving the greenhouse, vibrant red roses and colorful tulips appear on store shelves across the United States, ready to become Valentine's gifts for millions. Meanwhile, on the other side of the globe, Kenya is witnessing a remarkable leap in its avocado exports. In the past, the country could ship only to markets less than 10 days away by sea. But now, thanks to tens of thousands of massive refrigerated containers, Kenyan avocados can travel 25 days to Europe and even 40 days to Russia, while still arriving fresh, firm, and perfectly green. Right after harvest, the still hard avocados are washed, coated with a protective layer of wax, packed into ventilated cartons, stacked onto specialized pallets, and loaded onto refrigerated trucks bound for the port. There, they move directly into the ship's cold storage hold, where temperature and humidity are controlled with precision down to the degree. This cold chain must remain unbroken from the packing house all the way until the ship docks in the importing country, because even a few hours of interruption can cause the fruit to ripen prematurely, turn brown inside, or suffer internal bruising. After harvest, corn isn't fed to cattle right away. Out in the field, forage harvesters chop the whole plants into small pieces and blow them into specialized wagons or dump trucks. These trucks have high sides, hydraulic floors, and mesh guards to keep the chopped corn fluffy and aerated during transport. From the field, they run continuously to the silage pit a few hundred meters to several kilometers away, ensuring the material reaches the bunker within an hour, a crucial window to preserve moisture and the natural sugars that determine silage quality. At the silage site, the chopped corn is spread into thick layers, and heavy packing tractors begin driving back and forth, compressing every layer to remove as much air as possible. Once the bunker is full, the entire pile is covered with thick plastic film, reinforced with protective mesh, and weighted down with tires or sandbags to keep it airtight. In this oxygen-free environment, lactic acid bacteria get to work, converting the plant's natural sugars into lactic acid. This acid stabilizes the feed, preventing mold, spoilage, and nutrient loss, a silent but essential fermentation process that defines the value of the final feed. After about 40 to 60 days, the silage reaches its ideal sweet-tart balance. Farmers open only the exposed face of the bunker, slicing it cleanly to maintain airtightness for the rest, then mix the silage with hay, minerals, and protein supplements. Thanks to this fermented layer, cattle receive a steady, energy-rich feed supply throughout the entire year. Every year, more than 3,000 serious accidents occur in global timber transport, most of them on steep, narrow, muddy forestry roads where heavily loaded trucks must battle icy slopes or deep ruts right in the peak logging season. Just one tire slip or a turn taken a few degrees offline can send tens of tons of logs collapsing, causing hundreds of thousands of dollars in losses and choking the entire supply chain. Yet the risks hadn't slowed the industry. Over 1.5 billion cubic meters of timber are transported worldwide each year, the lifeblood of construction, furniture, paper, and biomass energy. Modern log trucks are now true two-in-one machines, capable of both collecting and transporting wood. Their hydraulic cranes, equipped with force and torque sensors, can grip 10 to 15 logs at a time, rotate 360 degrees, and stack them neatly onto the trailer. A fully loaded trip typically weighs around 45 tons, and once the load reaches capacity, the truck's automated system activates, locking the stakes, tightening steel straps, and issuing a safety signal before the vehicle heads onto the road. No longer bound to the ground, agriculture has truly taken flight. Modern seeding drones can carry up to 60 kilograms of seeds, covering more than 40 hectares in just 1 hour, a level of productivity that once required an entire fleet of tractors. Equipped with high-precision GPS and multispectral sensors, they map the terrain, analyze moisture, slope, and canopy density, and calculate the optimal drop point for every grain. As the wind shifts, they automatically adjust their flight to ensure each seed falls with centimeter-level precision. Even in turbulent skies, radar and self-correcting algorithms keep them steady, quietly sowing the future of intelligent agriculture. After completing their mission of sowing life, these drones take on another role. As the aerial pharmacists of modern agriculture, carrying dozens of liters of crop protection solutions, foliar fertilizers, or biological agents, they glide precisely over rows of crops, coating every leaf in a fine. Seeding drones represent the beginning of life. Spraying drones are its invisible shield, a symbol of an agriculture where artificial intelligence and flight technology are reshaping how humanity nurtures the earth. Mist. The fascinating machine before you, with its rotating steel blades cutting into the soil, may look like a set of lifeless metal arms. But in reality, it's the in-row weeder, an intelligent weeding system widely used by farmers across Europe and North America on high-tech vegetable fields. Each rotary blade is a curved steel tine mounted on a high-speed rotating shaft. As the machine moves, these shafts spin in perfect rhythm, allowing the tines to slip between plants, loosening soil, uprooting weeds, and breaking crusts, then retracting instantly before touching the delicate stems. Every motion is controlled by sensors, cameras, and precise electro-hydraulic systems, enabling the machine to detect the tiny gaps between plants with millimeter-level accuracy, as if guided by the intuition of a seasoned grower. With the ability to clear over 2 hectares per hour without a drop of herbicide, the in-row weeder not only replaces human labor but also paves the way for sustainable agriculture, where soil is cared for by machinery instead of chemicals. With the rotary rake, the idea behind its invention was simple yet brilliant. What if we could gather an entire field of grass with the precision of a Swiss watch? Unlike traditional rakes that drag along the ground, the rotary rake stands its rotors upright, allowing each flexible spring tine to gently lift the grass, spin it in a spiral motion, and form perfectly uniform windrows, as if measured by a ruler. The result? Grass that dries faster, stays cleaner, and retains up to 30% more nutritional value. Beneath its steel frame lies a network of self-balancing sensors and hydraulic controls, enabling the machine to cover over 12 hectares per hour while maintaining smooth, precise, and almost silent motion. Yet while the rotary rake brought finesse in keeping the forage clean and nutrient-rich, it quickly revealed its limits on the vast, sun-baked fields stretching hundreds of hectares. Slow speed, complex drivetrains, and limited flexibility. That's where the wheel rake takes over. A machine equipped with up to 20 steel wheels, spanning 12 meters in a single pass, creating a revolution in speed and efficiency. Without motors or drive shafts, the wheel rake harnesses the ground's own friction to convert motion into powerful sweeping force, flinging grass and hay neatly into straight, even windrows, as if drawn by a line. In this design, simplicity is strength. Fewer parts, lighter weight, and up to 20% less fuel consumption. The result? Nearly double the working speed, while maintaining the same stability and precision across every row. Those round shapes scattered across the fields, looking like giant wheels of cheese from above, aren't decoration at all. They're bales of hay, carefully wrapped and sealed by a remarkable machine known as the bale wrapper. Once a bale is tightly formed, a hydraulic lift grips it and places it onto a dual rotating platform. There, the heavy cylinder begins to spin while an arm sweeps around it at up to 36 revolutions per minute. Layering sheets of stretchable PE film, material that blocks sunlight, seals out air, and allows the hay to ferment naturally, like pickles preserved in their own brine. The operator barely lifts a finger. Automatic sensors handle everything: film tension, wrapping direction, even the number of layers. The result is a series of tight, glossy, perfectly sealed bales, ready to feed cattle through the long winter, when out there, the fields hold nothing but frost and silence.